What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Get Wrecked, bro. I'm your host today, Scented, and with me today, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only Snoop. Snoop, how are you doing today, brother?
Yo, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on, Sensei. Appreciate it.
Hey, man, I when you text me saying this, hey, yo, you want to get on?
Yep.
I grabbed at it quick.
Let's go.
You shot up the list immediately, and I needed to get you on. Honestly, you're a legend in the CRL, man.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I've been around for a while, and yeah, definitely appreciate you like doing these types of podcasts, doing these shows, because it's a really cool way to like get to know members of the community. I feel like we haven't had something like this in a while. It's like a really just cool like grassroots thing to do. So it takes a lot of work off of like the mods and admins because like we're already busy with like league operations and stuff, so we haven't really had the resources to devote to like content and social media like you have. So this is awesome, man. So thanks for putting this on.
Hey, love it. Anytime I can help, I'm willing to do so. But man, like I said, you're a legend in your own right in terms of the CRL. I think you've had the mod symbol over your name since I've literally joined, and
that's a fact.
That's like day one. That was like I must have been in here like first 100 people, I felt like. And you've been in like, oh, this is Snoop, he's the mod. Like every time I see you there, you're giving the riot shield to a couple of people, backing people down in the chat there. But man, I spoke to Dak and he gave me a little bit of insight, and I want to say he's more of a newer mod. He's that newer generation of mod. But for you've been in here since forever. How has that mod life been treating you?
I mean, it's a fun job. I mean, like, it's just kind of what we volunteer to do. It's just a way to give back to the community. I've been a member of every season of the Rec League, besides like the test season that they did in MW, but I was in like season 1 of MW. And I've been a mod basically the whole time. Like the current mods reached out to me and just like brought me on board. So I am the longest tenured mod, other than Jims, who is obviously the owner now. So shout out to Jims. But yeah, it's been a crazy ride. There's been a couple different mod classes that have come and gone, and I guess I'm like the only one that's really stuck it out. So yeah, if you have any like questions about like what the early days were like as a moderator, kind of like what the workload was like, just fire them off.
Yeah, 100%. That's actually top of my board here right next to me. And honestly, I want to just talk about, especially very, very early, that transition from MW into Cold War. The league started to blow. As for you, what just like transpired, and what do you think really started to propel the CRL going forward from your point of view?
There's a bunch of different things. There was that original Reddit post, which is what I saw originally to become a member. And then just the hype around Cold War being a much better competitive game than MW was, I think, had a lot of people excited. One thing that I think always works in the Rec League's favor, especially with a game like COD, is like we don't launch with ranked play. So people are kind of fiending for that competitive like league, that type of atmosphere that they don't get from playing pubs, or, there's no community if you're playing GBs and stuff like that. So I think there's a really big hole to fill for the Rec League, and like a lot of people just kind of found that. One of the things that helped like gain a lot of members was that our Twitch viewers are pretty high for like the amount of people streaming Cold War. So people would just like wander into our stream and be like, yo, what is this? And then they'd get hooked in because we had really good production quality, and the things like the infomercials that Bert made, like the 100 Point Club commercials and all that stuff. People get hooked into those things, and it like adds to the production value of the stream. So shout out to Bert. That those commercials definitely help a lot. And also TAC maps, that helped us blow up quite a bit. That's like by far our biggest YouTube video is the TAC maps release. And it got us some notoriety with some of the coaches in the CDL. Like Revan has been in our server, and a couple other coaches in the CDL and challengers use TAC maps, and that's our application. So shout out to them for creating that. That definitely brought a lot of eyes onto the Rec League.
Yeah, definitely. I think that TAC maps as just a whole, it really started to even make some of us, not so competitive players start to think like, hey, maybe we could start running some strats, some actual, maneuvering around the map. And I remember my duo Killer, he definitely really took tac maps and ran with it, started just getting better. So shout out to the rest of you guys over at the CRL for making that. But for you, as a mod and being one of the longest running mods in the CRL, you've had to have seen your fair share of crazy things in chat. I want to ask you, maybe what's the craziest you've seen in there?
Dude, like so crazy that I like can't even say it, but there's been some fire copy pastas that have come out of like the early day rec league. So I'm always down to share those. I can't like rip them off right now because they're kind of lengthy and inappropriate, but there's just been some fire copy pasta out there that we've taken notice of. Like, just as an example, like people that have no idea like what the vibe of the rec league is, like they come in like super hot headed and they think like they can just play by their own rules and like drop their teammates and pick up people who they want to pick up like in the mixed league and stuff like that. So we've just had people just come in here and have no clue what the vibe is or what we're all about. So I think that's like the funniest part about being the mod is getting to deal with those types of people.
And anybody just banned just because?
Anybody that I would ban just because?
Yes.
Like no, anybody. Honestly, no. I love like the community. I try to be like friends with everybody. Honestly, like I don't want to make anybody dislike me. So I wouldn't ban anybody. Like low key, I love everybody in there right now. Nobody really pisses me off.
Listen, jumping into some spice. This is not we're on the spice scale. We're thinking mild right now. Okay. Something went down with one of your co-founders, I believe, of the winning side and Real Ransom. He got a little out of hand there for a moment, but you reeled him back in. And we've seen what you guys had, a little dispute over on Twitter. But what really went down there? Because I know that you have probably the most insight for that situation that did happen.
Yeah, I don't want to like talk too lengthy about this one, but yeah, I mean, he just kind of made some assumptions that weren't necessarily true. Like we don't put people in a division to like, take down one team in particular. Like we literally put in so much work into skill ratings and skill adjustments for teams. And it really makes our job easier when teams flat out say like, hey, this is too easy for us or this is too hard for us. Cause then we're more open to listening to them. But we look at people's CMG and GB accounts. We look at like their COD tracker. We look at as much data as available like to us to make everything as fair and competitive as possible. So just to like put a blanket statement out there to say like that we put a team in that division to beat their team was just kind of off base. But yeah, not to get like too deep into it. I just thought that was like kind of crazy that people would assume that.
Yeah, and thanks for clearing that up because for a moment there, he caught some eyes, and honestly, good to know that that you guys are really doing that back end work. And if we could just backtrack to that just a moment, how much actually goes in, because a lot of these players don't know that, Snoop. They don't know what you guys are actually doing in terms of what that mod badge really means and really does in the day-to-day. So you spoke about COD tracker and watching people's CMGs. How deep do you guys dive into trying to fit people in the best positions?
Yeah, so it's really hard when people come in and we have no idea who they are. So that's when we dig out the GB recon or like the CMG recon. So that's basically it. Like we'll look up their account on GB or not CB, GB or CMG. If they have like any earnings on the game, like you probably shouldn't be signing up for bronze. You clearly know how to play. And that's prevented us like a couple teams from going in and playing bronze and silver. So yeah, that's basically it. We just look people's Activision IDs up in those systems, and if anything comes up, then we move them accordingly. But then there's a chance that they don't play GBs or CMGs, and then we have no data to work from. We really just have to trust their assessment of themselves. Then we put them there, and then, after a couple games, if it's really bad, like the discrepancy between them and the rest of the division, we'll move them accordingly. So that's why, like, when people complain about sandbagging stuff, like, I just kind of brush it off at this point, because, like, I've been here for a year and a half at this point, and we put so much work into making these divisions fair and as competitive as they can possibly be. And, like, we try to do so much to, include as many types of players as possible. People just don't understand how much work, like, really goes into it. Like, you don't sign up and get placed where you want to go into. We do like as much research as we can to make the right decision.
Right. And that's honestly, I think what a lot of people are searching for, and especially on the pre-made side of things, because mix is, you kind of know what you get with mix. In terms of pre-made, I think that a lot of players, especially that come to me and ask me, hey, why is it they allow us to pay this money, but I'm getting destroyed by someone in a CCL team? I look to tell them most of the time, like, hey, man, they're trying their best, and honestly, it seems like you guys are actually trying to do that. With you individually, Snoop, I think that you're a different kind of person. I think that you're a more open person, and that's something that the CRL needs, like as many of you as possible, in terms of how open you are being thus far here on the interview. And shout out to you, 100%, extremely
Thank
typical,
you.
So
Yeah.
thank you for that, man. And that's actually pretty cool to know that you guys are actually trying to work on a back end, trying to fix what some people deem as a problem in the CRL. But speaking about problems in the CRL, something that I've noticed is those Premier Leagues getting a little bit out of hand nowadays, with people saying, as I touched on earlier, like the CCL players. What is maybe something the CRL is doing to maybe combat that people just can't come in and be the number one rated college team and coming into silver?
Yeah, well, a couple things about CCL is like once you get outside of maybe like the top 10 or 20 CCL teams, the skill level drops off like dramatically. Like there are some absolute burgers in the CCL. So just because they're playing in CCL and CRL doesn't mean like they should automatically be in platinum. Like no offense to those guys, like they're full-time students. Like at the end of the day, like
right,
if they want to play in the CRL, they can absolutely come play in the CRL. Just because they're CCL doesn't mean they're god tier or top challengers player or anything. But yeah, I mean, we do the best we can. We can't really cross check. Like we don't like. I don't really watch any CCL, but like we don't know like people outside of like the very notorious ones that like try to sign up for CRL. So it kind of just something that we take care of as it gets brought to our attention. We can't really scrape like a data set of CCL players, in addition to doing CMG and GB recons, because that's super easy to do. But yeah, if you're complaining about CCL players in the CRL, just know that unless they're like on a top 20 or 15 team, don't worry about them. Like they're probably just a regular COD player like you are. I wouldn't get intimidated by it at all.
Yeah. And honestly, that's just a huge issue in terms of what people really think is the big picture, the big problem over at the CRL. But again, it seems like you guys have that all under control. Now, just talking a little bit about the CRL and what we've seen from where it was to right now, in terms of how big it's getting. What are we, like 4,000 plus in terms of members? That's it. Is there a cutoff to where you, Jim, Shield, it's just too much? Is there too much for the CRL? Is there a number that you guys say, hey, after this number, we're not allowing anyone in? Excuse me.
Well, the last thing we want to do is turn away a team. Like that's why we have the wait list. That's why we have, Gold, North, and South. Like that was a new thing this season.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess we just try to fit as many teams in as possible. I mean, we do kind of have some long-term solutions in the back of our heads in case like things get really kind of like the growth gets uncontrollable at some point. But I think with the amount of teams we have now, we can sustain our current format without any changes.
Okay. So you guys, in terms of, there's no limit for you guys in terms of how many players can be in the CRL.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't want to turn anybody down. Okay. And I'll give you a little bit of insight on this too. So if you've been here for a while, you might remember when we did the Swiss bracket system where, say if you're 2-0 and there's another team in your in your pool 2-0, you guys play each other. So what we could do is like a version of that, like on crack, but like with all the teams together.
Right.
And then just kind of have like some type of elo to track like the skill ratings of each team. So that way each week you're playing like a similarly skill rated team. Mm-hmm. But I'm not a big fan of that. Like, yes, that would ease some growing pains, but it also kind of takes away some of the community aspect of it. Like, I love how there's a silver chat, a gold chat where people kind of get, they get going at each other. They make friends and like rivalries within their own divisions. And then also it kind of makes playoffs really weird to get, like, because say if you're like a top gold team and then you get bumped into plat the last week of the season, like, do you just go into playoffs against plat teams? Like, so we'd have to redo a lot of things, but that's kind of one thing that we've considered moving towards if we need to accommodate a very large amount of teams. But I think a lot of the mods and admins really like the current system and like the kind of community that inspires.
Yeah, and I think with the division thing, like you said, the silver chat, the bronze chat, it kind of lets people, open up in a smaller space, because it's kind of hard to get a hello in their gen chat, so
Yeah,
it's really good. So I really again hats off to that. But we spoke about the mod side of you, but that's not the only side of you. You're a player as well.
Yeah.
And honestly, from what I've seen, you're a champion. So talk to me about just your experience, not as a mod. Just take out the mod side of you. How has your experience as a player been in the CRL?
It has been so fun, and I have just made so many friends through this experience, and I've played with a lot of really cool teammates, and it's just so much fun getting really good at COD and getting better and better every season. So I won Trump's the original MW season. I was super new to competitive. I maybe accidentally sandbagged a little bit there. I signed up as a B or C rating, whatever we did back then, pretty low skill. But in my defense, I have never touched competitive before MW. So I was basically just running around and gunning with the MP5.
Yeah.
But then in Cold War, I kind of botched a couple seasons by trying to bring some IRL friends into it. They weren't really feeling competitive. So I kind of had to scramble to pick people up, and missed playoffs a couple times, choked playoffs a couple times. So unfortunately didn't win anything at Cold War, even though I love that game dearly. But in Vanguard, first season of Plat Mixed, I duoed with Zahid, aka Spices. It's my boy right there. And we took that shit to the chip. It was a pretty fun season. We got some pretty good teammates, and finally got another dub after a year not winning.
You can't knock it when you got Zahid, man. Come on.
That dude's a beast.
That guy's nasty. But honestly, it's same for yourself. I think that a lot of people, they know you as when I've really realized the newer players, not the players that have been here a long time, because they know you as the mod player. Some of these players, they know you only as the player. So when I see that you playing in chat, or playing on the alpha stream or whatever, these guys, you got some fans, you got some supporters there, Snoop. But for you, this season, currently 2-3, going into week 6. I do want to talk about Dak getting on the roster. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But just how has your season been? 2-3. Talk to me. Maybe what do you got to fix for tonight? I believe your game is.
Yeah, well, the record doesn't tell the whole story. So basically, I started the season as a substitute on a diamond roster, Sin City Slayers. So I wasn't getting any playing time, and I just was ranked was coming out. I was playing the game a lot, and I was I'm way too good at this game to be sitting on a bench. So I told my captain Fallen, I was I'm just gonna look for a spot in Plat or whatever. I just want to start. So I ended up taking over an 0-2 record in Plat of a team that dropped down to gold. So something happened with Zenny's team where he left, so I picked him up immediately, and it was just me and Zenny. And then Zot had hit me up and was yo, let's run it. And then I picked up corners as a 4th. So we've had 3 matches together. So we are 2-1 if you don't count the 0-2 record that we inherited. So, and that one loss, we took the best team in Platinum to map 5. They rolled our shit in S&D, but we took them to map 5. So I was pretty proud of my team. We barely have any play time together, and we're really vibey. We're just having a bunch of fun playing together. So it's a really good time. Hope to make some waves in playoffs.
So, and that's what we got to talk about, making that playoff run. Dak, you guys pick up Dak. Well, talk to me about that. What happened there?
I honestly don't know what happened with his team. I think they had a leadership change, and he kind of fell off of it somehow, and we picked him up. I know Zenny kind of orchestrated the whole thing, so I'm not sure. I've teamed with Dak 4 or 5 times in the past, so obviously we get along, and we're really good friends and good teammates, so he'll fit right in.
And in terms of now Dak being on the roster, is he getting a starting spot, or is he going to work the bench for a little bit?
I think he may start for us tonight because Corners was having some internet issues, so I think he should be making the debut for us tonight. But I'm not sure. I don't know if he offered the starting spot. Honestly, don't really care at this point. We kind of just switch players in and out every week, so it's just kind of whoever wants to play, I guess.
And that's
I would love to see him start, though. He's nasty. So, we could definitely make a splash with him on the starting lineup.
Definitely. I think you guys can really make a deep playoff run if you guys continue just slay out and play these next 2 weeks perfectly, but which is doable with the roster that you put together. Which is insane how you got those players. That's one we gotta speak about that. Like,
yeah, we threw it together like the most random time. Like, just probably the best players available all came available to me like at the same exact time, and they're all people I've been friends with for a while, so it really just worked out perfectly. I didn't have to roll the dice and post in like Platinum looking for team and pick up some weirdo Twitter guy. So that's a pretty lucky experience there.
Oh man! So now we get into the spice. We heard a little bit there about your player side, your mod side. Now I gotta ask you the hot seat question, Snoop. Are you ready?
Yeah. What's up? Let's go.
Okay. So the first question is, who's your bot of the CRL?
Okay, if you had asked me this last season or like last year, I would have had an answer for you because I feel like there was this one person I kept running into in Cold War that just couldn't guard me. Like they could never get past me in bracket or in regular season. But I forget who that was, so I'll spare them. But I'm gonna have to say my own teammate Dak. Like the only 2 times I've won a championship, I've been against him on the other team. So unfortunately, he's been in the crossfire a little bit on my reign of terror. But that's gonna be my boy Dak. Even though he's not a bot, he could probably beat my ass now. But yeah,
Give me
that's my only answer.
Which is a great one. We love to stir up a little team drama here, So give me Snoop's rival, someone that you think that every time you guys go against each other, he just makes you better.
Oh man, that's a tough one. I know Spices and Leafs have knocked me out a couple times, and like I love those guys too. They're super fun to be around. I'd say them. They make me a better player. They make me want to become better at the game so I can maybe take a series off them at some point. They were the Reapers in Cold War. Like, I'm honestly glad they won compared to the other team that was in the finals with them. But they whooped our ass so bad in scrims that like my team got off the game for like a week. And like we chalked the season. We're like, we can't get past those guys. There's no point. They were so godlike in Cold War.
Yeah, and they continue just that here in Vanguard. Yeah. Honestly, the foot is not off the gas with those guys. Give me Snoop's worst teammate.
My worst teammate is no longer a member of the CRL. His name is Redacted. So, I team with him. He's notorious for like creating his own server, like to kind of create a smaller community within the CRL. But I did team with him like the first time we had pre-made teams available, and he was honestly like a super funny guy, but like kind of toxic and trolly. So I kind of see why he got banned. But he basically made my brother, who was like my duo at the time, like lose composure over the whole game. Like he would bring us into Discord calls and would like go through PowerPoints of setups and stuff, and we were just like, dude, like we don't have the gunny to keep up with some of these teams. Like we do not need to be busting out Microsoft PowerPoint. And my brother just like lost composure. He's like, I can't be doing, homework to play Call of Duty.
So crazy.
Yeah, no, that's probably my worst teammate right there.
Busting out the PowerPoint. That's insane. That's a first, honestly. In the CRL, there's a lot of people that you like. There's a lot of people you don't like. Give me a god squad or your dream team sort of for I want to start making this question just the players in your division, but I'm free for anyone you want in the CRL. Give me your god team for the CRL.
Yeah, that's a tough one because I obviously would pick my own teammates. I'm going to have to throw Boozies on there because we did team in one of the mixed seasons of Cold War. We choked so bad in playoffs though. But it wasn't on us though, because we were kind of a nasty sub duo. But I would love to team with Boozies again. That would be a god squad. And then for ARs, probably Leafs and Jazz.
Oh, speaking about Jazz, man, that's a guy in the CRL that he can go somewhere. Honestly, he's nuts. He's absolutely nuts.
Actually, I want to put Shadow on there instead of Jazz. Like Shadow's pretty nasty.
Yeah, those I can't even. That's like That's just dominance right there, both of them. So whoever you get is still a god team. Okay, so next question is who's free money to you in the CRL? If they said to you, hey, they at Snoop in the CRL Gen Chat, chow for $1,000, who would you want that player to be because they're free money?
That's a tough one. I don't know. Maybe disarray. I don't know. I'll just say disarray for that one. That's my cop out.
You're the first person that said that too. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
That just feels like something that he would ask, like not to me, but just in general. So I just picture it in his voice, like him asking that question. So
that's hilarious. And I would I want to say this next question, but you're basically you already do this, but the question is, if you were the owner of the CRL for a day, what is one change you would make?
ooh, that's crazy. Honestly, I agree with like a lot of the stuff that the owners already do. So I don't know, maybe more tournaments. I feel like we kind of lack in that department. I know it gets a lot of people engaged on the weekends because we are kind of like a weekday only type of league. So I'd say more tournaments, but we all know like the human capital that goes into running those events. So it's not like feasible to do them all the time, but maybe tournaments and maybe a way to integrate them on the website somehow. Oh, actually, I have a perfect answer for this. Let me back up. So one thing I really want to see on the website is like a trophy case or a player profile or something like that. So we don't have to keep the Discord like over encumbered with all these roles of championships that go back like years ago. It would be nice to like click on someone's profile and say like, oh, they won an MW season 1 or Cold War season 1. It would be cool to have like accolades like oh MVP and stuff like that. Just like go a level deeper with it.
Yeah, that would be nice. Like a Hall of Fame, that would be awesome.
Yeah, a Hall of Fame, exactly.
Yeah, that would be awesome to see something like that integrated into the website. Okay, we got to know a lot of the mod. We got to know a lot of the player. We got to hear some of your spicy answers to the spicy questions. But who is Snoop behind the sticks, behind the computer?
Behind the computer. So yeah, I'm 25. My name's Derek. A lot of people close to me obviously know that. I'm from outside of Boston, like grew up here. So pretty big Boston Breach fan. Like they're killing it right now. Finally get to root for a hometown team. Like it's kind of a lost puppy. When I first started following COD, I didn't have like a city-based team to root for. But yeah, I work at I'm an analyst at a pretty large investment firm. Oh, you can see my cat in the background. What's up? But yeah, that's basically who I am. I live with my girlfriend. I love video games. I've been playing since I was like 5. Started with Halo, like super back in the day. Switched to COD in about COD 4. And I've been going back and forth ever since. Like I love FPS games. I love console shooters, esports. I used to compete. I actually went to like a Halo 2 LAN when I was like 11. I don't remember. I got smoked, but I was there. And I used to compete in Super Smash Brothers Melee, and then most recently Call of Duty and Halo Rec Leagues.
Hey man, thank you for sharing that. It's awesome, man. When we get to know a little bit more about the people that we talk to every day in chat, but we just know them by their gamer tag. So love to hear about that, Snoop. Honestly, keep doing what you're doing for the CRL, man, because you are doing amazing things over there. But we just about done here with the interview. That's all the questions I have for you today, man. Snoop, where can the viewers and the listeners find you on the internet?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't stream as much as I should. I really want to get back into it. So I'm on Twitch, twitch.tv/SnoopCod with 2 Ds. And then on Twitter, I am at Snoop_FPS. So one thing that we didn't talk about though was I do the stats for Diamond Division. So I've been collecting and kind of reporting on those. I'm a little behind right now, but my plan is to get the rest of the data from the season all caught up and just do it on stream, because honestly, the worst part of it is like data entry and it's super boring. So if I just did that on stream and could like interact with people at the same time, I feel like that'd be pretty interesting content. Like I was watching Jake and Logan Gear do their pre-show the other day, and I was just like, this is so fun. They get to just talk to people and talk about the CRL. So I really want to start streaming and doing that, and maybe bringing the diamond stats out to the community so people can see how I do it and maybe give some feedback and some suggestions on that. So maybe expect me to go live again sometime soon with the diamond stats if you're interested in that stuff.
That is so dope. I'm definitely going to be there. And links to Snoop art will be down in the description box below. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here and for the support on the Get Wrecked Bro series. Has been phenomenal through the roof. Snoop, you were a phenomenal guest. I can't wait to have you back on. I do
Absolutely.
I'm really hoping you guys win pre-made now, because I'm trying to get all the captains of pre-made, to come back on the show after the season. But Snoop, again, thank you for coming on. and really appreciate taking your time out. But I think that's all for us today, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to know, have a good night, have a good day, get going, ladies and gentlemen, because I know you got this, and goodbye.